Well, hey there, and welcome to another episode of the After Hours podcast. Now, I am really excited about this episode because I am here with a very awesome group of people who I actually met maybe like a week or so ago?
Yeah.
Yes, I know, right? And we have mutual friends with the people at Castle Blood, and I met them through doing a paranormal investigation at Castle Blood, which is like the perfect place to do a paranormal investigation. I mean, because come on, right? So this group of people that I am here with, they're Whispering Souls paranormal investigators, and we're actually here at the Bethel Park Schoolhouse, which is also has a lot of history to it, and I'm sure you guys have done some stuff here as well, which I mean I'd love to talk to about today too, but yeah, I would just like for you guys to kind of introduce yourselves, starting with you, because you're the owner of it. Yes, girl. All right. So.
My name is Patty Henderson, and I'm the owner of Whispering Souls Paranormal Investigations.
All right, awesome. And
testing? No. My name is Jordan, Oreo, and I have been on Whispering Souls for a little over a year now, but I did some investigations with Patty before I joined Whispering Souls, so here we are.
Oh, very cool. And you, because you have your own mic, so
yes,
yeah.
My name is Connor DeAugustine. I am this lovely lady's husband, and I've been also involved with the paranormal research with WSPI for about a year and a half now, and like Jordan, started off as a guest, so I'm glad that we were brought along.
Oh, awesome. I love to hear it. So, explain a little bit about, WSPI and, paranormal investigating and how you got into it, like what you're about, how you came to be and where you got the idea from it.
Okay, so I was a child that was not a normal type of little girl. I didn't play with Barbie dolls. I was out and about looking for spaceships, aliens, all that stuff. I always liked the most bizarre, unknown type of stuff. I had my first encounter with an unknown object, probably around 6 or 7 years old at my grandmother's house. And if you've ever come to one of our talks or our investigations, you know that I say that adults thought it was an imaginary friend, but in fact, it was not. My grandmother ended up seeing this little girl that I used to play with in her house, which was a ghost. So from that point on, I was just fascinated with things that nobody knew about. And I was always trying to research. So I've probably been investigating for 20 some years. I've been doing it since I could walk and go to places I shouldn't be going into. As you can see, if I would have gotten in trouble, I probably wouldn't be living because my dad would have killed me. Yes, but I was doing investigations, and then when I had gotten married, me and my husband started doing them with different groups. That's when all the TV shows started coming out. So a lot of people were gathering together doing investigations. So there was a lot of events out there. One of the investigations that we had did, the team asked us to join. We ended up joining. I became a co-owner of, and it was in 2022. My partner didn't seem like he really wanted to go on, but I did. And I decided to break free, start something fresh, something new, do it my way, just separate from the other company. And September 2022 is when WSPI became. And our first event was in 2023 at Castle Blood with Ricky. Yay! We got to give him a shout out.
Go, Ricky. Yes.
Love Ricky.
Yes. And so we have a little bit of a happy medium with our ghost hunting events for the people who are very well-rounded, have their own equipment. They know what they're doing. They can go off on their own. But then we have folks that come on our investigation. They don't have the equipment. So we help them with that. We show them how to use it, and we investigate with them. And it's a happy medium for both.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Yeah. Well, I will say this event at Castle Blood inspired me to get my own dowsing rods.
Yes, you did.
I did. I got some dowsing rods. So
you gained some new friends that day.
I did. I did. Yeah. I felt like, especially in like the parlor, I felt like that was like, that's like my new bestie. It's like,
It's cool too, like when you're using dowsing rods, you can feel the energy. I don't know if that was your experience,
Yes.
but you can actually feel something around you and you can feel it pushing you.
Mhm.
And that's why I love it. I feel like it's such a you actually have that connection. We have so many different things of types of equipment that is like, electronic.
Yes.
But dowsing rods, I feel, is like one of the most personal ones.
Yes.
And that's like one of my favorite pieces of equipment too.
Yes. Because when I was using the dowsing rods, there was definitely a pronounced difference in like with what I was encountering in the parlor versus upstairs when it seemed like just like the shy 11-year-old girl that I was getting. So
You rocked it though.
thank you. Now, what about you guys? How did you guys get involved in paranormal investigating? And you guys meeting Jordan and Connor, for those of you listening to the audio version and not watching the video version. But what about you guys? Like, how did you guys get involved in because I know you said a little bit about how you got involved with Whispering Souls, but how did you get an interest in the paranormal and all of that?
Yeah, so as Patty said, this is gonna be a shock, but I was also a weird kid.
I think we all have that in common
Very
here.
common theme.
Yes. Yes. Ironically, though, when I was a little kid, I was scared of like everything. I have bad anxiety. I was scared of everything. And then all of a sudden I started getting older. And then instead of being afraid of things, I was curious and I wanted to see them more. So even since I was a little kid, I did experience my first paranormal experience when I was young at my uncle's house over in Heidelberg, if you're from Pittsburgh. And we were sitting there and some shampoo bottles just flew off of his dresser. Woo! And all of these things started flying off of the walls. And I was like, this is weird, but whatever, And then as I got older and I was in high school, my friends and I, we were always looking for creepy, fun, weird things to do. Mm-hmm. We'd go on Google and be like, haunted places in Pittsburgh. And we would always go to those places, but you couldn't get in. We weren't bad kids, so we would never try to break in or anything. Yeah. We'd sit on the outside.
You were the bad one?
The bad one breaking in.
Woo!
Again, I had anxiety, so I was like, I can't get in trouble. I never even had detention before. So we would sit on the outside and we'd like start to like creep ourselves out. And sometimes we thought weird things would happen, but I don't know if it really was weird or we were just psyching ourselves out. And I got really into Ouija boards and learning about that. And then just as I got older, I wanted to be more educated on it. I started reading a lot of books and I was just getting really into it. And then we found her first group that she was working with. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, there's groups that you can actually go with and get into these places and do investigations. Mm-hmm. And once we knew that was a thing, we were there all the time doing investigations. And him and I, we've been together for 10 years now about.
Yay!
We've always been to Halloween. We've been to Salem 3 times. We've always been into spooky, creepy stuff. And this is just another hobby that we could do together and we love it. So yeah, it's kind of been a lifelong thing, but now here we are, actual investigators.
Similar theme over here.
I assume you were also the weird child and everything. Yes,
absolutely. Black sheep of the family, the one that's into metal music and horror movies. Growing up, my first experience with the paranormal was at a buddy's house. His great grandma had recently passed away in the house. He had asked for someone to come stay the night, and so I did. And I had a thing when I was a kid. I could not sleep with an open door. So I vividly remember this door being closed whenever we went to bed. Middle of the night, him and I wake up, doors wide open, and a silhouette is standing in that doorway. Ooh. And ever since then, I've just been chasing that sort of, like, I want to know what that was, that high you get from your first encounter. And as she had mentioned, we started out as customers. Yeah. And the more we grew to know Patty, the more comfortable she became with us to come and actually be a part of WSPI, and it's history from there.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, I love it. And just a note for those of you watching on video or even listening to the audio version, they actually do have some of their gadgets up. So I don't know, maybe we might capture something during this podcast. I don't know. Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'm sure this place has a lot of history to it.
You never know. You might pick up some voices on here that weren't ours.
Yeah, I know. So, hey, we'll see how the playback sounds, who wants to be heard. But speaking of which, what are your views on like what happens to departed souls? Because I know a lot of people have like differing opinions and everything. Some people think that it's residual energy. Some people think it's, actual human spirits that for whatever reason never crossed over. And then others think it's more demonic entities. I tend to think it's like, it can be all of the above depending on the situation. But what are your thoughts on like, say, what happens to souls, like departed souls, or, what typically tends to be maybe in a building like the one that we're in?
Okay, so this kind of goes with my logo. Mm-hmm. So we're here on Earth right now, and it's like having a door going into the spirit realm. Mm-hmm. We feel that there's spirits and souls everywhere. And there's, if you're miserable in your actual life, you pass on, you could be miserable. We have gotten miserable souls screaming at us, but we get happy ones too. But the universe always has to balance itself out. So there is good and evil. Yes. I do believe that they're all around us. You don't have to go to a haunted location to actually make connection. Mm-hmm. For what reason? We follow the scientific method. Mm-hmm. And energy doesn't die. So our souls have to go somewhere. It's energy. Mm-hmm. So where that energy goes, it's living on somewhere. Yes. Until we die, we are not going to have 100% the complete answer to that. And I don't care who you are. We love what we do. And it's a high, like Connor said, trying to make connection and try to put answers to these question marks that we have in our head. Yes. Now, whether we're right or wrong, that's up to once we die to put that to rest. Mm-hmm. So, we can use our experiences, we can use the scientific method, we can use the tools that we have the proper way, but that doesn't guarantee 100%. We're talking to something that is definitely paranormal activity. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, but like science says, energy doesn't die. So it's somewhere.
Exactly. No, and that's the thing, like there is scientific evidence to back that up, to back up like energy and how it works. And, because a lot of people might be like, oh, that's all fake and blah, blah, blah. And
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. But, but no, there actually is science to back up energy, kind of like what I was talking about a couple episodes ago with Susanna Sprague, and we were talking about like sound healing and all that stuff and sound waves and and how there is scientific evidence to back up how sound waves affect the body. So I think some people are still catching up to that idea, but, but I think it's making progress, definitely, where people are coming up with like new ways to think and believe and everything. And
we're the biggest skeptics there is. Mm-hmm. We don't classify, just because we're paranormal investigators and we classify ourselves as paranormal investigators. Just because a door opens, we're not like, oh, that's paranormal. Oh my God, the lights flicker. We definitely look into something that happens and try to figure out and debunk it before we classify it. Well, that possibly could be paranormal activity. There could be something making communication with us. We definitely do believe there's, you have your residual and your intelligent souls.
And another point I'd like to make too is that what Patty has brought up multiple times on our hunts is that we don't want our customers going away with false information, and thinking that they have evidence when they don't. And so we're willing to kind of let them know, like, whether or not they have something or not, because we want them to have a good experience, want them to come back again, and not have that preconceived notion that they got something that might just be a speck of dirt,
Right, exactly. And that's, and even when I did like a review of the evening on my YouTube channel, that's one thing I noted is that you guys are very professional and you guys don't just kind of willy-nilly like, oh my gosh, that was a spirit, because we heard, like, now we did hear a bang on the floor.
That was wild.
That was
there.
Yeah, that was crazy. Everyone felt that through their feet. So
yes, so like there was something like that where we couldn't explain it any other way.
Right.
So when you can't explain it any other way, that's when you're like, okay, there might be actually something or someone trying to make contact. So Jordan, like, what are your thoughts on like the afterlife and what happens to departed souls and what they might be?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what they said as well, of course we don't know. We don't really know.
Right.
But just what I think, and just from my experience, is I think, we always say as well, when you go on an investigation, to have some sort of knowledge of maybe what type of spirit will be there, or where they're from, or what time period, because we always say, it's like the spirits live in a different reality than us.
Yeah.
So if we go to a place where the spirits might be from the 1600s, instead of saying like flashlight, we'll say torch, or we do it to do something they'll understand. And with those realities, I think that our realm or reality that we live in is actually a lot closer to that realm than people think as well, or that reality. I think it's very blended, because I feel like a lot of people always, their main assumption is if there's a spirit here, they're stuck here because they have some unfinished business, or they have something that they didn't complete in their life. But I don't think that's 100% true. I think that's a possibility, and I'm sure there are spirits that feel that way. But I think other things as well, like a spirit might be lingering just because they liked where they passed, or they like where they're staying and they're comfortable at that place. Or, I think they can kind of come in and out as well, because I think, there are loved ones and people who can follow you or come and check in on you. And we've even experienced that. I have a story for one of the questions here that is tied to that. But we've seen people's loved ones come through. Even at Castle, we were talking about how someone's father passed away, and they came through and they had a full conversation, just him and his father, as we sat there. So, I think like there's not any particular reason, but I think there can be so many reasons. Maybe they're stuck here, maybe they're comfortable here, maybe they're just visiting, maybe they're not. But it's hard to tell. You really don't know. But I think that we're a lot more blended, and I think there's more around. Even like Patty said, you don't have to go to a haunted location to find spirits or communicate. We try to do it in our own homes or places that we don't think are haunted. I think it's all around, and if they want to communicate with you, they will. If they don't, they won't. So it's kind of just about investigating and finding out for yourself.
And ironically, graveyards, some of the least active places, because
interesting.
From what we've learned in various experiences, that the soul doesn't necessarily stick to the body. It's like she had mentioned, it could stick to objects, areas, wherever they feel familiar with, comfortable, loved ones. So ironically, like I said, not a lot of activity happening in the graveyard.
They are kind of spooky. Like it's fun to go there and kind of scare yourself and get creeped out. But realistically, they typically aren't going to hang out in the cemetery unless they happen to die there, maybe.
Unless they loved that cemetery.
Unless they just love that cemetery and they're like, hey, I want to just stay and hang out here all day.
I might do that. There's some beautiful cemeteries.
There really are. Like some of the stonework and architecture. I mean, absolutely. And now, what are your thoughts? Because I know some people have theories on the possibility of there being portals, like kind of almost like time traveling portals. And I know, time travel has been a theory, and I know there's a lot of, like quantum, physics and all that stuff that say, time is man-made and everything is happening all at once. And one interesting thing that was pointed out about how time is actually very man-made and like not real, if you will, is the fact that number one, the calendars have changed like drastically. Like, like there's that joke with like when they made the switch from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar about how like, I think it's like they went to bed, I'll have to check the exact dates, but it was, they went to bed on like October 3rd and woke up on October 15th and everything. And, and even like the, daylight savings, there's
joke.
I know. I mean, like
firm non-believer in daylight savings.
I know, like even daylight savings, and there's like some like provinces in Canada that are even talking about doing away with it, and others that want to keep it. So just the fact that we can have that conversation kind of indicates that time is very man-made, and we don't, it's a construct, and we don't have to be necessarily married to it. And there might be history around us like happening right now, so like what are your thoughts on like portals and possibly maybe what we might think is a spirit might be a time traveler? Like what do you think about that?
This kind of builds off of what Jordan said.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of go into this neutral. People who are very religious, whatever religion you are,
Mm-hmm.
they follow that belief. So then they may disagree with us.
Mm-hmm.
We are about concrete evidence.
Right.
I'm not saying that there's portals. I'm not saying there's not portals.
Mm-hmm.
But what we see here right now, we're in Bethel Park Schoolhouse.
Yeah.
We see the chalkboards, we see all that, and we do investigate here. We hold events here. So with that being said, we have captured actual spirits in this room.
Mm-hmm.
But what we see here, they don't see. So
Right.
yes, they could be moving what we classify as portals from one spot to the next.
Yeah.
Is it an actual swirl that they're going through? That's what usually people think of.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. But in my eyes and how I see the portals is them moving like we move from one space to the next.
Right.
I mean, how are they going? Are they flying? Are they drifting?
Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. They're doing the genie thing, bling bling, and they're in another world. But yeah, so there has to be a way for them to get from point A to point B, like Jordan said about family members. Okay,
Yes.
they come to our events, so their family members is with them. They're tied with them. They're watching over them. Well, I mean,
Right.
they're not getting in a car driving. So
Right, yes.
are they going into some type of portal
Mhm.
and transitioning over to that area where that person is going?
Yeah.
Possibility, yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, with time traveling, portals, all that, I think anything's possible, of course. I don't think we really as humans know anything indefinitely at all. And I think, I think it's all possible. Of course, I've never, like Patty said, we're so we want that hard evidence to ensure it.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever had evidence of a definite. I think when people think of portals, we've gone to some haunted locations where they claim, in the basement, there's a portal to hell, and I can't say I've ever seen any evidence of something like that.
Just a giant hole, maybe, but
maybe a creepy hole in the basement.
Don't go down the hole.
Yeah. I think it's similar to how Patty thinks of it is kind of just a way they're getting through it. But with time, I think anything's possible. Time travel, anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would prove that or capture it. I mean, when we talk to spirits, we say, what year is it? We try to get an idea of what time they're in.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've never had any experience with someone saying they're from the future. So
Interesting. Yeah.
if that answers. So yeah, I mean, I think all of it is possible and tied together with a paranormal activity, but also kind of thinking back on energy too. I mean, I believe, and this is just my belief, I don't know if this is true, on a full moon, the energy is higher. So I think that opens a portal or opens energy for maybe more activity or less activity. So I believe in energy. I believe that, the tides and just things on the planet can affect energy. Maybe I like that word better, energy than portal.
Yeah.
But I would never discredit anything because, we don't know.
It's the
Of
same
course.
thing with reincarnation. Exactly. Our souls are being ripped out. They're never dying.
Right.
Could they be possibly jumping into something else? We have deja vu. They say when you have that deja vu, could that be a past life? Possibly.
I mean, I do like the idea of universes running in parallel, right? Something that happened here 100 years ago is happening then, but also our time's happening now.
Right.
And
Yes.
something falls off a desk in their time and something gets moved in our time and we think it's a spirit trying to communicate with us, all open to the idea of something like that. But they all said, there's not really a way to test it until we're there. And I don't know about you guys. I don't really want to test that anytime soon.
Right. I know. Right. Yes. Yeah. Still got a lot of stuff to do here.
Exactly.
Right now.
I'm not done yet. So
exactly.
I don't end up on this timeline.
Yes.
Next time.
Yeah. Yeah. But that is, especially if you go to a place like Gettysburg and everything, where a lot happened there. And it was especially a lot of traumatic stuff happened there. And so I think Gettysburg is one of those examples where it's pretty much you have a conglomerate of different activity, because I do think that there is some residual energy just because so much has been imprinted there. So there's some residual energy. I also do think that there's definitely some human souls there too, that they just never, for whatever reason, didn't move on from, where they, from where they were at during the time of the Civil War and possibly any other time. And I also think that, but I also wonder too, because, I had an experience at Gettysburg where I actually heard cannons on the battlefield.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't like, there was not a reenactment going on. There were no fireworks, no speakers, like nothing to, and it was late at night too. So nothing to logically explain. Because I sifted through like possible logical explanations, but and it was like later at night too. So there was really no other logical way to explain it. And I'm just like standing there hearing what's like these cannons like being fired. So, and I'm just kind of standing there. It's like, wow, am I standing in the middle of a battle right now? And I may not know it, or is that like maybe residual energy or something? And it's so interesting to
or
describe
just a local
that.
townie that likes to mess with people that come into town.
What if you're inside someone's memory almost? That's like maybe way too deep. But it was like,
no, now we're really getting deep.
What if it's in someone's memory? But even when we've gone places, like we've heard like old timey phones ringing. Like we've heard similar things like that were not from, like it wouldn't be from this era or this time. So that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say, you stood there and you listened. Some of the guys on my team would have ran the opposite direction. So we're not going to say their names.
I've gotten a lot better. Okay. I've gotten a lot better.
Has gotten a lot braver, but yes, they actually do run the other way, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Zach is very open about it. He will tell you straight up how terrified he is.
I do remember him saying that. Like, he's like, I'm getting better at not running out of rooms, but I can't make any promises or something like that.
And he doesn't go in rooms by himself. He has to be with someone. Yes.
Oh, wow.
He needs an accountability buddy.
For what, 7 years?
He's been with me a long time.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But I gotta say, I love him just like I love my kid who's a scaredy cat too. So
Yes, he is.
6'4" scaredy cat police officer.
Oh, that is so funny. Wow. Because it's like you're a police officer. You probably go into like pretty harrowing situations, but there's a bang on the floor and you go running out of the room.
Yes, like a Scooby-Doo style run, like his feet just going, and he would probably jump in someone's arms.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, nothing's there, and they're taking off running, and we're like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah. Oh goodness. Wow. So speaking of scaredy cats, have any of you ever had any scary encounters?
I have, yes. I usually do not get scared, and I can go into any place by myself, which is a big no-no. Ghost hunting 101. You're supposed to be with someone because you're going into abandoned places in the dark. You never know what can happen.
Oh yeah.
But I had actually 2 experiences. One, it was not an event or anything. I was just investigating on my own, and it was at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
I've been there. Yeah.
So it was the 3rd floor, the men's ward, and I sat down, started doing an EVP. We listened back. It said my name. And all of a sudden, at the end of the hallway, we seen 2 shadow people come out of the opposite rooms, cross.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the scary part. So we're sitting there, and as we're listening and they're saying my name, we said, "Do you want me to come down?" My partner go down. And it said me to go down there. And I was going to start going down, but I saw this huge, it had to be about almost 7 foot black mass just floating towards me.
Wow.
I don't know what it was.
Oh man. Yeah.
It wouldn't stop. So I'm like this, just go away, go away, go away. But every time I looked up, it kept getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it kind of just disappeared, but it really did freak me out.
Yeah.
The other encounter, I was doing the Estes method, and this was a different location. And it wasn't a growl, but it was a very loud, evil sound. It was so terrifying that I literally I didn't even think. I just ripped the headphones off of my head. Wow. And I just had to take a minute. I took a minute and I'm like, now I'm going to do this again. So I put them on and it happened again. And I was like, I can't do it. So I'm standing there while the person I was with decided he's going to do the Estes method. Mm-hmm. And as I'm standing there, you just get a sense that someone's watching you. Yeah. So there was an entryway behind me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's something, I could feel something just gawking at me. Yeah. But I just was frozen. I could not move. I wanted to go because I remember stating, we need to get out of here. I need to go upstairs. But I couldn't get my feet to go. Oh, man. It's like paralysis. That's how I felt at that moment. Like it was holding me there. I didn't feel that energy. I didn't feel anything. It just didn't feel right. Yeah. And I just needed, we always tell everybody, listen to your body. Your body knows best. Yes. And I knew that was not a place to be, that I needed to go.
Yes. Well, the thing too is it's like, especially in things like, you know, asylums, old hospitals, just stuff where there was just a lot of, you know, just really not so nice things happening and a lot of just sorrow and, you know, just not good energy all around. Like there tends to be a much heavier energy at those places. And what about Connor, Jordan? What about you guys? How about, have you guys had a scary encounter?
Yeah, so I'm not as lucky as Patty, which anyone would say that's crazy that I say that, but I'm like, I want to be scared out of my mind. Like I want to. I will say, like, I haven't had an experience like Patty where I was just like completely terrified in a really long time. But I will say, off of what you were just saying, Patty and I are very similar in this way where we feel energy. And we've gone to places before where the energy is so heavy, you can just feel the sorrow, feel the emotion, really heavy empaths. And there were some places, like the last place I really remember, and this would have been in 2021, no, it was a couple years ago, when I went to the West Virginia State Penitentiary. I wasn't even in the building yet. And it was just heavy. I felt anxiety. I felt like always looking over my shoulder, like I was being watched at every moment. And I won't say like I was like one moment that was terrifying, but the whole night I felt uneasy, which is unusual for me. And it like just, and of course that place had so much tragedy as well. And heavy energy and violence. And it was just like walking through the halls of the cells, you just felt like you were being watched the whole time. That was one. Another place that I felt like that, because it doesn't happen to me often, where I really start to feel that way, was actually at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum as well. In the hallway where they say the infamous creeper, which the creeper does not like to be called that, Zach Bagans. So if you go there, don't call her that because she doesn't like it. But I'm going to say it because, you know, she's infamous for that. There's this creeper that in this hallway, and, you know, apparently there's this shadow figure, I didn't get to see it, that comes across the walls and the floors and is really scary. Ooh. And that hallway it was scary. Like you felt like you had to like look around, and I started to get really sick in that. And that doesn't happen to me often either, but I started to feel nauseated. And in that hallway, I think from what I remember, it's like it was an infirmary or for patients that were sick. So, and they warned you that could happen. And I just felt awful and sick and just like horrible. And those are two places where I really remember just feeling very uneasy and all that. But I haven't had a terrifying experience like Patty. I've seen shadow figures from afar and things like that, but I want to have Patty's experience. It'll come in time.
I've never myself seen like a shadow figure or anything to that extent. But as we mentioned before, I do get a little jumpy at times, to different things. But one time specifically that I do remember was our first ever camera. Yes, our first ever ghost hunt that we did with Patty's old crew. And we had the SLS camera, which for those of you who are unfamiliar, the SLS uses a series of infrared lights that when displayed through an iPad or a screen, it'll show kind of like a green stick figure on the main points of either if you're pointing at a person, a human body, or at a wall and something shows up, usually indicates that there's a presence there. So first time ever using this, we were in the medical ward of West Virginia State Penitentiary. And I started the camera up, and you looked over at the nurses station. There was a bench right there, and I saw a figure sitting on the bench. I was like, well, that's pretty crazy. I walked over to it, turned the corner into the nurses station, and as soon as I turned that corner, it was standing right in front of me, and you should have heard me jump and run out the door. That was scary.
Thank God she didn't break the camera.
Yes.
He bolted.
Yes, that was creepy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting how like some places you go to, you know, there's really not bad energy at all. Like you can sense something there, but there's not bad energy. Like Castle Blood, for instance, you know, even though, it's a funeral home, it's inside like a century-old funeral home. And, you know, there's all kinds of souls that have been in there, been through there. I've never really felt anything
like
dread or anything like that. Like there's times when I'll go there, like to do like photo or video as part of their social media ambassador program. I'll do some, I'll go there to do, photo and video. And sometimes I'll feel like, somebody's watching, but it's not like anything
like the oh shit moment.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting enough though, so they don't really let anyone go out down there because it's dangerous. But the time before the investigation you went on with us at Castle Blood, we went down there a few weeks ahead of time just to film some content to, advertise our event. And while everyone else was gone, Patty and I were allowed in the basement of Castle Blood. Again, you can't go down there. It's dangerous. And that was a moment where as soon as Patty and I went down there, we were both like, whoa, energy in the basement. I don't feel that anywhere else in Castle Blood. In the basement, we both were like chest heavy, like feeling like you couldn't breathe type of just like kind of like almost a suffocation. And we were both like, whoa, this energy down here is such a shift from the rest of the castle. And we're like, we want to investigate down here. We were only down there for a couple minutes, but her and I both were like, oh yeah, you can feel the energy shift, which was interesting.
Yeah. I've never been down to the basement in Castle Blood. But that's definitely interesting because everywhere else I've been, it's like, I don't feel any, it's actually,
Agreed,
like I don't, it's like, it's either neutral or even kind of good energy. Now there is that one area upstairs where we had that, we had that really stubborn spirit. I think I remember that
we were in that. Were we in the gypsy room?
It was
the library room.
It was the library.
With the lead pipe. No.
Well, I always get the wayward women and the boss within the library room because apparently that was maybe their, I don't know, waiting type of area because the bedroom supposedly was off to the side. And we've captured in EVPs that one of the women have died from a pillow being put over her face.
Oh, okay.
So, we do get, like men have better response up there because we do get a lot of women. So, due to them being the working women, maybe they're trying to make some moolah.
There you go.
So, they're trying to communicate with the men more. And then the aggressive, maybe what you were speaking of is the boss who, these women, let's go. Gotta
the madam.
Exactly. And he doesn't like that they're taking that time away from doing their job. But I do believe that, with that type of energy, whether it's heavy, where you feel it's just toxic or good, I think it plays a part on the history of that space too.
I agree.
I mean, you think about the asylums and like the stuff that they did to patients back then. It was horrible.
It was awful.
So yes, you're going to get something that's going to come through that's going to make you feel a discomfort, whether it's a nauseous feeling like Jordan said, or just like pressure on your head. Cause I've had that feeling.
Or like tearing up. Like if you feel like the sadness, you go into a place and it just, you can feel the sadness. You can feel yourself like kind of tearing up a little bit and you don't know why.
And I think that's a way for them to communicate to us, to instill on us the way that they felt in that moment in time. Was that their last breath and that's how they felt? Or is that their whole life within this area and that's how they felt? But they're trying to get something across. And us here, that's why we do what we're doing, is try to link this history with what we're kind of capturing
Right.
to figure out what is going on and try to make heads or tails of this whole situation. And it is such a high when we get that intelligent response to a question.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just want more and more and more.
Yeah. But did anybody ever say like what the basement of Castle Blood was used for? Especially,
we did ask Ricky, but we're not real sure what any type of history is going on down there. So,
interesting. Yeah.
and again, these places can go back to maybe the 1800s, but just say that house was built in the 1900s. We don't know what was on the grounds prior.
This
we
is
don't
true.
know what passed through. So
Mhm.
something could have passed through, died on that, then we build this building, and then we're capturing something that has nothing to do with that building.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we try to research not only the location we're going to, but the surrounding area. And we did that when we went to New York at one of the Airbnb locations that was haunted.
Yeah. So, what about this building that we're in right now, the Bethel Park Schoolhouse? And yes, you guys have conducted investigations here.
Yes.
And this was built in the 1800s. Very cool. I love it. Yeah, in a way, it kind of reminds me of Crawford School of Terror, Coffee at Crawford. It kind of reminds me of that because, there's that schoolhouse was built at like the turn of like the 20th century, whereas this is more 1800s, which I think is super cool. So what kind of stuff have you guys found here, and like what's a little bit of the history behind it?
So this was a school for Bethel Park until Bethel Park got extremely large. They shut this down, and then it was just storage until Bethel Park Historical Society. And I got to give a shout out to Bill and Tim. I love them. And the whole historical society. The people are wonderful, letting us come in here. We're actually going to have an event on October 24th here again. Yeah. But we've gotten a teacher. I've investigated up in this area where we're sitting now, which is a classroom. We've gotten kids. We have a REM pod on the one desk, which I'm sure you folks can't see it. That's supposedly the naughty desk. And every time we put a REM pod on there and we say there's a naughty student back there, it'll go off.
Wow.
We've captured the teacher, was that old school type of teacher hitting their hands with a roller. We've gotten that in EVPs. We've gotten some stuff that doesn't really link to the school either, which is kind of strange.
Interesting.
Definitely down in the basement, very old school. You'll have to check it out before you leave.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so again, that goes with the grounds and what has passed through, who may have settled within this area. But we do get stuff that has to do with the school too. Now, there is no record of anybody dying in here. So, again, it could go back to like the teacher. She was here a lot, 5 days a week teaching with these students, loved her students probably. So now she passed on, and this is where she feels comfortable, and she's still residing within this area. Again, that's what we can speculate. We don't say 100% that's correct. It's just what we utilize our tools to figure out what is happening.
Very cool. Yeah. What about you guys? Have you guys found anything really cool here, or like any of your own experiences here?
Well, today the REM pod on the naughty desk has been going off a lot. And that's actually about it for us. Unfortunately, every time we've come to this location, Connor and I have had to miss it. So we haven't been able to investigate here yet. Hopefully this October we'll be able to make it and we can investigate here. But yeah, that's all the activity we've had is what we have.
I was going to say, I thought I heard something going off this whole time. So that's been the naughty desk. That's been going off. I wonder what's back there at the naughty desk. It's like
supposedly a boy student. That's what we have captured.
It's always a boy.
It's always a boy.
But the other thing that's really cool is the trolley that's out there. We do investigate that too. My son has been out there investigating, and it's an angry soul that's out there because it F's him up and down. It calls him names. It's called him fat. It's called him everything negative.
Rude spirit. Yeah.
Yes.
Bully.
Maybe the class bully or something.
But there is a story behind the trolley, and out of respect for this schoolhouse and the family, we don't disclose that at our events.
Right.
It's just, in our eyes, we want to be respectful to
Yeah, of
everybody,
course.
you know, the guests that come, the family of the person who passed with that trolley, and also the Bethel Park Historical Society. You know, they put a lot of time and energy into this place, and we love it here. It's one of our favorite places, and we love them. You know, they'll do anything for us. So, you know, we just want to be respectful.
Of course.
So if anybody decides to come October 24th to our ghost hunt, you do your research before coming, because we're not going to disclose anything.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we have had the naughty desk going off, so maybe, I don't know, is it that, I don't know, little boy who like,
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's his name? Connor. Connor, are you over at the naughty desk?
ooh. Oh goodness, wow. So, you know, of all the experiences that you guys have had, is there a moment that you've been on an investigation that had, you know, like an impact on you, whether that be good impact or bad impact?
I don't really think I ever had. No,
Okay.
I try to stay as neutral as possible, other than those two cases that I had told you about. You know, we're more so, because we are a business, we're there for our guests that come. We just want to make sure that if they go out on their own and do it themselves, that they understand the equipment, what can set it off, because a lot of natural causes, a lot of the stuff around them can set this equipment off. It doesn't mean it's paranormal.
Right.
We want them to know what exactly that equipment does, how to do the investigation properly, and how to look at something like, for example, orbs that, you know, they're taking pictures on their phone and there's specks all on it, and people think that it's orbs, and make them understand that is not an orb. That's just dust or a bug.
Right.
But we will always back up our story with whatever evidence that they have captured, and we'll give them an explanation, well, why we think this is paranormal, why it is not. But we always want to make sure that people are doing it the proper way. None of us follow the Zach Bagans. So if you guys think that's going to happen, don't come to our events. You know, we enjoy doing this, and we'll do it as a group outside of events and stuff, and we have a good time. We were at Hillview, and the whole night, we got nothing, but we made the best out of it. We have fun with each other, and we're goofballs. You know, we can't make activity happen.
Right.
So, you know, we go in there with just an open mind that there's a possibility we're going to capture something, we may not. But yeah, nothing stands out either way for me.
Nothing life-changing for me either, but
Do you? All right, let's hear it, Jordan.
So one that impacted me, I think, in a positive way, and it kind of changed my thought process on being an investigator and where we are right now. It actually happened to me last year at Castle Blood. I always get activity at Castle Blood, but I went home feeling different. So basically what happened is, it was actually when you were sick last year, Patty, so you weren't there. And I was there, and we were leading an investigation, and there was a bachelorette party that came through, which was super cool and fun. They had a little like paranormal bingo, that they created. It was so cute. I was like, why didn't I do this for my bachelorette party? But while we were at Castle Blood, there was one woman in the group, and I think she was the sister of the bride. And everywhere she went in Castle Blood, all of our equipment was just lighting up and going off, no matter what. But she was the only one getting activity. And we're like, oh my gosh, these, you know, at first we're like, the spirits here love you. Like, they're just all around you. And we ended up in the parlor, and we started to do some work with the, oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Like kind of like a ghost box, a spirit box. Yeah. And we were all sitting in the room. It was very quiet. And we just let the woman who was having all this communication, we were letting her talk, because she let us know, there goes the
REM pod,
guys.
there goes the naughty desk.
That happens. And, you know, she's talking, and it started getting very emotional, because she let us know, after some communication she was having on this device, she was having intelligent conversation that didn't make sense to anyone else except for her and the bride, because the bride was related to her. And she had a young son who passed away just, you know, I think it was like 2 years before that, from a disease that her other son actually had as well. And she, you know, she's just talking to this to this spirit. And she's like, this is my son. And she's like, I feel my son with me all the time. But this is the first time I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. She's like, this is the first time I've been able to communicate with him because I don't have my own equipment, but I feel him with me all the time. I know he sends me signs. And so she's talking back and forth. We actually also had a little teddy bear. And it's something that's good to bring out with child spirits because, you know, they like toys, they like teddy bears. And we actually thought this teddy bear was broken because we couldn't get it to work all night. And she set it next to her and she said, you can come hold the teddy bear. And the whole bear was lighting up the whole time she was communicating. And she was talking back and forth and she would tell us. And then the bride who was his aunt, they were all talking and we just sat there while they had this moment with her son. And the son would say things like, I saw the bicycle. And she's like, we just started taking my other son, to ride his bicycle at our other son's gravesite. Cause they're like, we go there every Sunday. And he just learned how to ride a bike and he was just riding a bike last week. And she showed us the video, of that. I get chills this entire time this was happening. Full body chills and I teared up. They were crying. People were crying. I was like trying to remain neutral, but I was tearing up because I was like, it felt so special to be a part of this where I could see them connecting with their loved one. And then what ended up happening was we were getting all this activity and then the ghost box said, Grandma. And then everything like shot and then just went off. And she was like, my mom passed away recently too. We think Grandma came and got him for bed. And oh my God, goosebumps this whole time. And it was so special. And I left that investigation and I think I called him and I was just like, that was a moment where like, we do this for fun. We do this to show other people and get other people interested in paranormal investigations. But that felt like so much more. I was like, I feel so lucky and special to be able to be a part of that experience for these people. And I'm like, what did I do to deserve to be a part of that special moment for them? And I went through and I'm like, it is more there's moments like that where it's like, it's more than just having fun or showing people investigations. Like that probably changed her life, you know?
Give her some closure.
It changed me too. And I'm like, wow, this is so much more than even what I thought it was. And I will never forget that. It's one of my favorite moments. And I definitely think that changed me in a positive way where I'm like, wow, it was just incredible.
That's quite a story. Wow. Like kind of like what you said. I mean, in a way you were changed because you got to be a part of that. But, but the woman who was the mother of that child, she got to, kind of spend some time with her child, and that alone is just, that's amazing, So sometimes it's like, you might, without intending to, reunite somebody with like a long lost, loved one or something like that. So, and so that alone is incredible. Plus apparently Castle Blood does bachelorette parties. So yes.
There's
no bar at it, but you can definitely bring the bridal party.
So the bachelorette parties, but it was super cute. They were a great time. I was like, I want to do this.
That's so awesome. It's like have your bachelorette party at Castle Blood and bring like, Whispering Souls paranormal team to, kind of
maybe a private investigation.
Yeah, there you go.
We make a lot of friends. They come as our guests, but they keep coming back. We get to know them. We truly do. And I think that's very special to be part of something, a team that we all get along. And then we have guests that we get along with and we can carry that through. And it's really nice. And it's a special thing, I think,
Oh, I love it. And for somebody who's looking to get into paranormal investigation, like what advice would you guys have? Because of course, you guys, one thing I liked is how you guys do things very professionally and you do things from kind of like a scientific angle, which is good because you should go into something like that looking to debunk it first. And then it's like, okay, if we can't find anything else, that could logically explain it. Okay, perhaps there is, a spirit or something trying to communicate. And then you have people, other groups who are just doing it for show and, just to say, I'm part of I do ghost hunting. I don't even like that term ghost hunting necessarily. Like I'm more for like paranormal investigation. Because to me, ghost hunting sounds like you're hunting them down.
Yes.
And it sounds a little, and it sounds more aggressive and invasive, and to me, I like, okay, paranormal investigation. We're investigating something and maybe we might find evidence, maybe we won't. But what advice would you have for somebody to like, who's looking to get into it, looking to find a group, how to find a good group, that's like reputable, and, what is the best way to even if they wanted to do it solo, like, what is the best way to go about it? Like, is there like a piece of equipment that you would suggest they start out with?
Well, first off, Whispering Souls is the only one you should be going
Okay, yes. Yeah.
I would have to say research. Not only research your equipment, research what you're doing, research the history. One thing people think, they watch these TV shows, okay? These TV shows are there for entertainment purposes, okay? They could have been taping for like over a week or so, and they're cutting and pasting and putting this video together to put it for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah.
That is not what happens. Now, is there a possibility that someone could get possessed? I'm not going to single it out. Yes, there's a possibility. Have I seen it? Absolutely not. But if you think you're going to come to one of our events and get thrown up against the wall, it is not going to happen.
Right.
So the other thing is people see this equipment on these shows that they're using, and they think they got to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Do not spend lots of money for paranormal equipment, because half the time it's 3D printed and it's junk and it doesn't work. A simple digital recorder you could get on Amazon. Just make sure it has a SIMS card in it so you can record the information and pull it off of there. $20-some.
Yeah.
They work just as good. Flashlight. This is all simple, cheap stuff. If you're starting out, a K2 is a very simple piece of equipment to use. There's no thought in it. Some of this equipment that we use is very technical, and it's sometimes hard to understand. And if you're new at paranormal research, you may not know if it's doing its job properly or if it's wrong because it's too technical for certain people. But you definitely need to research. If you want to join a team, research that team.
Right.
I've had a lot of negative stuff said about me, but I am who I am. I don't hide anything. And, Jordan and Connor, they've been with me, not as investigators, but I've seen them in events and stuff, a long time. And the way I am as an investigation is who I am when I'm not investigating. So just make sure that you look into that team. Make sure that, is it a family members or are they friends that decided, hey, we're going to pick a ghost hunting name and we're going to call ourselves ghost hunters. And that's different from what we are, being a registered business.
Yeah, that's more of a social club.
Yeah, exactly. And, the thing about it is we can get into these locations because we are a business. We are insured. So we're held at a different standards than some of these other teams. So you need to know that aspect of it. And, I've already mentioned about the equipment. If you want to do it yourself, make sure that you research that area you're going into. Again, you should never go alone in the dark in an abandoned place, because if you get hurt, who is going to help you out? I mean, we've gone into some terrible places.
Very sketchy places.
I mean, we've held events at some places where the location tells us that's off limits. Of course, I tell my guests that we're not hiding any dead bodies or anything there. Yeah. We just can't go there because it's not safe. And then you're in the dark with a little flashlight and poof, you're over some hill or something, and then you break your leg. So, you need to know the basic ghost hunting 101 on what you should and shouldn't do. Just even come to our events, how many people are just chewing gum? Well, you're trying to record and do an EVP and and there's even recording stuff. You're supposed to mark that tape because Connor, he has some bodily noises sometimes and we'll capture it. So we don't know if someone's possessed, the demon's coming through, or it's Connor's.
Or I just need a gas X, you know?
Or Connor's tummy, you know? So, when stuff like that happens, you need to know when you're recording, hey, a motorcycle went by. So when you play it back, when you get home, maybe the next day, you're not going, oh, I captured something demonic. When in fact you did not. It's your buddy's stomach that's growling. So again, it all goes back with learning. I know people get super excited. They just want to jump in, feet first and let's just do it. Who cares about everything? Yeah. But it's crucial to know the basic steps of the paranormal research.
One thing that I'll say too is to be patient.
Right. Yes.
Not everything's going to happen all at once. You can't force things to happen. We do not provoke spirits whenever we go to investigations. We advise our guests not to do so as well. With the exception of, Hillview, there's the old owners of Hillview. They allow us to badger them. But they were awful people, so they deserved every bit of it. Yes, had consent. Yes. But like to restate what Patty said, do your research. If you're buying paranormal equipment, look at the reviews, see if there's any sort of videos online of people using it. Because she said there's a lot of scammers out there that'll try to pass something off as equipment when it's not. But if those are two things that I can pass on, is be patient. And like she said, do your research.
Yeah, very good. If you don't have the patience, this is definitely not for you. Right. Because Connor and Jordan can agree with me. We've sat 8 hours in a location, nothing. And it's upsetting, but when you get that one little piece of evidence, it's our drive. We can't stop.
It brings you back in.
Yeah, but you have to have patience. And, people nowadays, they want everything to happen right then and there, and that's just not it, like Connor says. It's
so if you like instant gratification, this may not be for you.
Right, exactly.
I think, my advice for a starting paranormal investigation is similar and then different in some ways, I have to say. First thing I definitely want to reiterate is paranormal investigating is for anyone and everyone. I know they mentioned it, but you definitely do not need to spend a lot of money to be able to do it. Not only, like Patty said, is there inexpensive equipment you can get off of Amazon or whatever it is. Don't discredit your own eyes and ears. Right. I've been in investigations when I first started, even with Patty's group, they do allow, we allow renting out equipment. But even without it, I've been on investigations where I really didn't use any equipment at all. And you just sit in that dark hallway and you wait and listen. A lot of waiting again. But just, believe your eyes and your ears, and you really don't need equipment at all. If you do go with a group like us, like I said, you can use our equipment, we can rent out your equipment. And that's a really great thing as well for when you're just getting started. And maybe you don't even know what you like yet. So you can kind of come and rent out ours and borrow ours or whatever. And you can try to figure out what you like. And maybe you like something a lot that's really expensive, but now you know that you like it and how to work it a little bit because you've used it with us before. So definitely that. The one thing I'm going to kind of disagree with a little bit with Patty and Connor, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, but in my opinion, I was actually one of those people who didn't really like to research too much before I went to a lot of investigations the first time. Reason for me is that I didn't want to have some preconceived ideas or notions in my head about what I might find there. I wanted to go in and not have an idea already in my head of what I might find. But I will say I felt comfortable doing that because I went with a group, and I sound so biased. I went with a group though, like us, who, like Patty said, we're a business. They have insurance. They know where to go and where you can't go. So I felt safe. Like if I was going to my abandoned building by myself, which you shouldn't do for the first time, that's a different story. But, because I was with a professional group like this, I felt comfortable, like not going and researching and figuring out for my own because I didn't feel unsafe in a way. So it doesn't hurt to research some. You don't have to research a ton and watch shows on it. If you're going to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and you want to watch Zach Bagans, you can, but again, that's like a reality show. They're showing you what they want to show you. So don't watch that and expect that's what it's going to be. Yeah. But and I want to say too, like when we say research though, also researching the place to be safe is smart. but you don't have to be some expert to be able to go on an investigation. Like you can not know much. Like I feel like, again, a little plug here, I feel like I learned so much from going with Patty's group. Like when I was younger, I would just go in and we're like, oh, let's hope something scary happens. But when I started going with a professional group, I learned so much about equipment and different types of entities and what to do, what not to do. I learned that from being with professional investigators. So, you don't have to be an expert on anything, but be willing to learn and be open-minded. And if you do want to start, I would suggest going with a group like us. I feel weird saying that over and over again, but really, a professional group that's going to teach you and will be there. And like Patty said in the beginning, you can come and be very experienced and we'll let you do your own thing. Or you could be a first-time investigator, a beginner, and then investigate with us, kind of like a Castle Blood, where you see what we're doing, you see what kind of questions we ask, you see what equipment we're using, where and why, and what type of questions we're asking and why. And you can learn so much from doing that as well. So I don't think research is bad and you should do some, but also like, you don't have to be an expert. Don't think that. You don't have to be like, oh, I know what a apparition is versus a, this. But that's something that you can learn, and something you can learn from coming to our presentations that we do as well.
Another plug, another shameless plug.
Gosh, I'm like, let me get all the plugs in this last question.
And I will say, everyone already has one piece of equipment on them at all times.
Yes.
Your cell phone.
We do say that in all of our
if you don't want to spend money and you just want to try taking some pictures, recording on your cell phone, that's definitely another option as well.
How do we tell them to take pictures?
Take 3 pictures of the same spot and then compare, because it might change, it might not. You might see some orbs, you might see some dots, but we'll tell you what's what. So.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, very cool. And also because one of my more recent episodes was with paranormal researcher and author Tony Lavorna, and he's the author of Haunted Roads of Pennsylvania, which he wrote together with Thomas White. And he also reiterated, respect the property, and get permission. Don't just kind of sneak onto the property, because as tempting as it may be, because on the episode with him, I was talking about how I was super bummed when I found out how the 7 rings of hell, 7 gates of hell in York, Pennsylvania is now, that property is now owned. And I was like, dang it. Yeah. But, but it's just like, and even like this haunted road that's close to where I live, Irwin Road or Blue Mist Road.
I was going to say, is that Blue Mist?
Yes, girl.
About that the other day.
Yes. And that's actually in his book. And I'm planning on doing, and I got his blessing to do a Haunted Roads of Pennsylvania, like little tour, like visit all of them. And so those dowsing rods may come in handy.
Yes.
But the nice thing he was saying about public roads is that you can just go to them. They're public, so maybe like if you're just starting out, that might be a good option to do,
Well, me and Tom White went to Blue Mist Road. And we actually went up where the witch's house and everything.
Yeah.
We did an EVP up there. It was really, really crazy.
Yeah.
And you're so far back in the woods. I mean, we were really far back. You don't hear any contamination, but it was really cool. But again, you always want to make sure you're with someone, because if you get hurt, because the woods are completely dark. There's no light. And we were using our light from our cell phones, to make our way through, and the woods are all overgrown and stuff. But it was really cool to be there. But again, you go by yourself, you don't know what could happen.
Right. Well, even like, and the thing about Irwin Road and Blue Mist Road, it's like, I definitely feel something there, because even going there in the daylight and just kind of like walking, and even just walking down a little bit of that road, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you feel it, like, and there was this, because I went in the daylight, and and I only walked down part of it, but like, but I was just like, I just feel like I don't want to be here by myself, even in the daylight,
People do investigation in it. I mean, we hold our events at night. We have a lot of equipment that lights up and stuff, and sometimes you're not going to see it during the daylight. People just like the spooky factor.
Yeah.
That's why
The
they
witching
do it.
hour.
Yeah, at night. But you can get activity during the day.
All day.
Yeah, and sometimes you get more activity during the day.
During the day. Yeah.
The only reason we don't investigate during the day is for the simple facts is that's the busiest time, like so much commotion, it's going to contaminate whatever we're doing.
Right.
You know, that's when people are going to work. There's a lot of traffic on the road. So wherever you may be, you have all that outside noise that's contaminating your investigation.
Yeah.
Where at night, you know, people are starting to like settle down, you know, go to bed, and there's less commotion and less interference in what you're doing. So
Yeah.
So, just to mention too, you know, for beginners, something we also mention as well is that we believe, you know, you don't have to go to a haunted location or a location that's deemed as haunted to investigate or to communicate with the spirits. So, you know, that's another thing too. If you're new and you're just starting to get some equipment, try investigating at your home. You never know. Or
Go to grandma's house.
Yeah,
I'm
go to
sure something of hers
grandma's house.
has something attached
There's
to
probably
it. Yeah.
something there. And then you can even start to get used to your equipment, and you can also kind of practice. I think one thing that we see a lot on our investigations is that sometimes it feels a little funny or weird, especially when you're starting out, to like ask questions into the abyss, or you'll ask a question that feels so silly. And I think sometimes, you know, people get a little shy or a little bit like, I don't know what to ask. So even like, you know, doing one at your home or at grandma's house, you can kind of get used to it a little bit. Like even when I first started with WSPI, I remember like I would start asking questions and everyone in the room was kind of like looking at me and listening to me. And I'm like, this is a little weird. And now I don't care. And I'll ask anything. We've asked ghosts, do you poop in the afterlife? You know, and it's just like getting used to it and doing it over and over again. So do it at your home, practice with your equipment, practice the types of questions to ask. And also like, you know, you might get activity there. I mean, I've tried at my home and unfortunately it's dead except for the 5 cats that are running around knocking things over. But you know, you never know. It's worth a shot. So yeah, you don't have to go somewhere that's haunted. You don't have to have expensive equipment, and you can still, you know, start to get into it and feel that love that we have for it.
Yeah. So one last question. Which is scarier, basement or attic?
Basement.
Basement.
Yeah.
Basement.
Yeah. I guess it depends too, because I've been in some attics that seem like you're in a basement. So I think it depends on the location.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mean, I've gone up into an attic where it's like a little cubby hole and you have to crawl in there. You can't stand up. The Hall House basement is kind of freaky. That's in New York. Yeah. So I don't know. It just depends. But I probably would have to say the majority would probably say basement.
Hollywood makes the basement seem very scary.
People love the spooky, creepy basement with the cobwebs and the dust.
And the asbestos.
And that too. And I feel like, at least for me, like, I don't know if I've been to a lot of places, I don't know if I've been to attics. Or a lot of attics.
The apartment in New York had the loft in the upstairs that our wispy dog back there was going crazy for. Wow. We were in various parts of the house just hearing that thing going off like crazy. But then
basement there was
the basement was also very creepy. So
basement,
me personally, basement creepy.
And people love a basement. I feel like when we have a location, they're like, we want to be in the basement. Again, a lot of people like that spooky, creepy vibe. It just adds, you know, a little bit of like an extra
layer.
Factor.
Fear layer.
People love a basement. I can't lie.
I love a good basement.
I love going in a basement and investigating.
The catacombs. Catacombs. When we do Westminster, the catacombs. That is cool. Very cool.
Wow.
Because you're walking over on dead, like bones. I don't know how to put it, because there's no stones or anything, but there's stuff buried under there. So, and the maintenance guy there, he will open up the one vault, and because there was a flood and it opened up all the coffins and the bones kind of went everywhere, so they couldn't place them.
It's a scene out of the Poltergeist.
But you get to see actual human bones when it's locked. And for our team, he will open it up and you can look at it. It's way down there. Yeah. It's pretty eerie. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I think basements tend to be creepier just because they are more rooted to the earth and the soil that it was built on. So there's more of a connection not only to the land and that soil, but also if like kind of like what you said earlier, if somebody was like walking by and was killed like on that soil, there's buried. More of there's or buried, there's more of a connection to that in the basement than there would say the attic, because I'm sure we've all seen like the old horror movies of like, ooh, the ghost in the attic and everything.
Yeah. In the walls.
In the walls.
No feet.
In the window when you're outside the house, it's up there.
Every attic's got the entire miniature town like Beetlejuice. You know?
Yes. But I think, with the basement, there's just, it's more rooted to whatever happened there.
And it's cold and dark usually too, because it's underground. So that adds to that too.
Like I said, Hollywood definitely puts the fear of basements in you. I can think of the movie It Chapter 1. There's the very first scene and Georgie's going down the basement. I could talk all day about horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Different podcasts, different
different. Another episode. We'll talk horror movies. There we go. But thanks so much, guys. This is a really great conversation.
Thank you.
Yes. And so where can people find you guys to like maybe find out where you're going to be next? How to connect with you and like hook up with you guys maybe on on an investigation, because I know you guys have a bunch of things going on.
Yes, we do. So everything's on our website, whisperingsoulsparanormal.com. Even if you can't find our Facebook, TikTok, just go to our website, click on the little icon. It'll take you straight there. Everything's done through the website. All the events are there. If you want to stay up to date, the best thing is to follow us, especially on Facebook, because that's where all our events are. I think that's pretty much it. Did I forget anything? No.
Well, our TikTok's starting to get a little bit bigger now that we've got some.
We have all the platforms.
We have all the platforms. Yeah. Now we've got the star of the TikToks here.
Tickets, everything.
Jordan's the star of the TikTok.
Yes.
He's the one who tumbled on the Castle Blood TikTok.
Yes, I got the Castle Blood one kicked off, but
So, even though investigation is very, very serious, and you should be serious, we do have fun. Like these guys said, we can't make activity happen. And when it's not, we're the biggest goofballs. We love to make fun of ourselves. I can't tell you how many times I've tripped and fallen over my own 2 feet. So, you know what? Even if you come out with us and we don't capture anything, we're going to make it fun for you. And you know what? You become one of our group, one of our friends. And hey, you never know. The next time you come to an event, you may capture a lot of stuff.
And again, even if we don't get activity, you'll probably learn a lot too. Like even your first experience really with the dowsing rods, like we might not get activity, but again, we're always showing equipment. We're, showing you what we do or how we go about investigations. So it's still a learning experience.
And as we didn't really touch on this too much, but we do also do presentations on equipment or various types of entities or different locations we've been to. So not just an opportunity to learn at hunts or investigations, but also outside of that in a more formal setting where.
And the presentations are free.
Yes. Free presentations.
Yes.
And we're there. You can ask us any question you want. Well, within limits, okay. But, if there's stuff that's burning in your brain that you want to know and, you've looked online and you get 2 different answers, ask us. We'll stop investigating to answer your questions. We might pull you out of the room just so we don't interfere with anybody else. There goes the thing again. But we want to share our experiences, our knowledge, our abilities with you guys. I can't say, like I said, I've been doing this 20 some years. How many times I see people investigating, doing this paranormal research, and they're doing it all wrong. We don't want you to go back to your friends and family and look like an idiot. We want you to go back with something legit to show them and explain your experiences that you had, and hopefully they're all good ones.
At our presentations, we always leave time for a Q&A, and I think almost every presentation we've had afterward, people come up and talk to us, and we love talking to people people if the venue allows and there's time. But people have told us their experiences, which is really cool to hear. And people have asked like, hey, I have this photo. What do you think of it? I know they ask you that a lot, Patty. And again, like, of course, we don't know anything definitive. We don't call ourselves experts, but we can give you our opinion from our experience, what we've seen. So yeah, and then you get to know us a little bit. And then we always talk about our events coming up, and we give you resources to follow our different pages and things at presentations too.
And we have stickers.
We do have stickers.
I do. I got one of your stickers, and I have your little rubber bracelet.
If you come to one of our events, you get a
really
bracelet.
Is. Yes. So I figured, wear it today. It's appropriate. But yes, but thank you guys for coming on, and thank you to the little boy at the naughty desk
there,
who's been going off like crazy this whole, I don't know how well it was heard, but like going off like crazy this entire conversation. So, but yeah, definitely look up Whispering Souls Paranormal. And, if you can, make it out to one of their events, because like I said, they are very professional. They don't, they don't BS about anything, and they go about it the right way, which is what I really appreciated. So, but thank you so much, guys, again.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'll have to, definitely. I got a coupon for I think it's like the Millvale one or something like that, in the Hillview. In July. So I'll have to make sure I can come to that. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, little boy at the naughty desk. And thank you guys for watching or listening wherever you're at. And
stay spooky.
Stay spooky. That's yes. Stay spooky, stay fierce, stay safe. Thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye.